During the Axel Rudikabana trial, Starmer said we have to keep quiet to avoid it prejudicing the trial. You know, the prejudicing trial.
Did it with the political prisoners, though, did he?
Correct. During the Enough is Enough protests, he described all the protesters as far right, even when they're arrested and waiting trial. And he also said, it is not a protest if it is not legitimate, meaning you couldn't protest about it being a terrorist attack if it wasn't legitimate, but now we know it was legitimate.
We still don't know. It seems like it's going that way. I can't wait for this court case to end, because what we will discover could be something that brings down the government or brings down Starmer, if it's as bad as we think. We just have to wait and see. But the hypocrisy...
I think there's more chance of that now Trump's in power. Because of Twitter, Musk, the whole thing, and Farage. And Farage now has that boost of power behind him.
Of course he does.
Yeah.
And he's got Parliament now as well. So.
Correct.
But the fact that they stopped MPs asking questions in Parliament...
Scandalous. Yeah.
It looks like things are being hid. And let's hope it all comes out.
I hope so.
I hope so.
We talked about the protests and people being arrested for just saying things. There's a big thing happening this week, which has come really out of nowhere. You know Alison Pearson. I don't know if have you interviewed Alison Pearson, or have you been interviewed by her?
Yeah.
She's a Telegraph journalist, but she's kind of, I'd say she has our views. I would say she's quite. You do know her, Alison Pearson.
I've heard of her. I don't know her. Yeah.
She's quite. I've seen a lot of her actually. She's very good, very. And she's all about free speech, and she was anti-COVID lockdowns and all that jazz. So again, irony. We talk about the stupid Somalians stabbing people in Remembrance Sunday. She was visited by 2 police early on the Remembrance Sunday. Yeah. She was in her pyjamas, in a dressing gown or whatever. And they basically said she'd been accused of a hate crime for a tweet she did over a year ago, basically. Now, she asked what this was about, and she was told they weren't allowed to tell her. And she said, "Who is my accuser?" Yeah. And the police then said, "They're not an accuser, they're a victim." Yeah. And then she was asked to come for... she did a voluntary interview, which I think she refused at that point. So this has blown up. I don't know. Are you aware of this? Yeah. This has blown up, and I think one of the things, again, the irony. You mentioned Remembrance Sunday. Remembrance Sunday is a remembrance of people who fought for our freedoms, isn't it? And the irony that on Remembrance Sunday this happens is just really grotesque, in my view.
Yep. First thing is, this isn't a new thing. This has been going on for years and years and years. 5, 6, 7 years. You remember the Harry Miller case?
Yeah.
So this all started under the Tories. Again, under the Tories. This is just the latest example of that. The fact that, I think it's Essex Police, the fact that Essex Police can spare 2 police officers to investigate a year-old tweet when crime across the country is going out of control, and I'm sure Essex Police have got lots of issues there. The fact, the issue of hate with a non-crime hate incident is what they were
talking correct. About. Non-crime hate incident.
The fact they refer to the person reporting it as the victim has already biased the case, because to be a victim, it has to be proven that you're the victim in the first place. Yeah. That's why in a court of law you have the accused and the defendant.
Yeah.
So
an act needs to have taken place for somebody to be a victim. Something needs to have happened for there to be a victim.
Yeah. Well, this is that woke agenda of we investigate hate crime to stop genocide, because hate speech leads to violence, which leads to murder, which leads to genocide, and it's a load of rubbish. But these police forces need to be taken to task. The chief constable there, I mean, if this was Manchester and I'd won the mayor position in May, the chief constable would have been sacked.
Yeah, I think if you'd won the mayoral election in May of last year, this wouldn't have happened.
No, it wouldn't have been.
It wouldn't have happened in Manchester because you would have stopped that straight away.
Yeah.
You'd have said non-crime, they are not to be investigated or they're not to be. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But lots and lots of forces are still doing it.
Which is why you need to vote for him next time. When what's his face?
Andy Burnham.
Andy Burnham tries to become the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's absolutely disgraceful that, you know, we've got people being arrested for praying in their head, not saying a word, stood on their own, being arrested. We've got political prisoners in jail for tweets. We've got a journalist, a respected journalist, who had the police knocking our door for something over a year old. And forget the year old, it was a tweet. This needs to stop. We are losing free speech across the West, and especially in the UK. And again, this isn't a Labour problem. This is a Labour-Tory problem. They're both as bad as each other.
Well, you know my views on the Tories and Labour. They're the same party basically.
They are,
and they're just carrying on the same policies. Yeah.
Exactly. But unless we get change, well, you know, we'll the amount of people now who talk to me online who are afraid to speak. So even though they're not being persecuted, the fear of being persecuted makes them self-censor.
Yes. Yeah.
Tyranny, even when you direct tyranny at yourself, is still tyranny.
Yeah.
We're scaring people into being silent, into being compliant. That's what the political prisoners are all about. It's, I dare you. I dare you to demonstrate. I dare you to say something. We called it a Telegraph reporter's house.
Yeah.
Over something a year ago. I dare you to say something.
Yeah.
We've just locked someone up for 3 years for a Twitter post. I dare you to put someone on Twitter. A guy who was at a demonstration, didn't do anything violent, has just killed himself in jail. I dare you. I dare you to turn up at a demonstration. I dare you.
This is what happens to you.
And we're being browbeaten, and people are afraid, and people are not speaking their mind because some of them are terrified of what may happen to them.